All right, there will be a new women's college basketball showcase for the 2024-2025 basketball season, and it will be played in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. It's called the Women's Champions Classic, and it's a collaboration between Horizon Sports and Experiences and Fox Sports. Joining me to talk about the new showcase is the CEO of Horizon Sports and Experiences. That is David Levy, who joins me now. David, how you doing?
Dexter, thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Glad to have you here because it's always exciting. We do a lot of talk about women's basketball. It's good to have you talking about this because this is a new tournament, new showcase. It's really going to be fun. So, David, tell me about the Women's Champions Classic. How did it come about? And I also got to ask you, how excited are you for this to be here in New York City?
Extremely excited. It came about very simple. The timing is right. This is a great time to invest in women's sports. You see it in every different aspect of it. You see it on the brand side, where advertisers are really starting to put their dollars against women's properties. You see it in private equity. People are investing in teams, franchises, and leagues. And you're also seeing it with the media side as the people are putting more and more properties on primetime television and on the weekends and so forth. So there's a huge, I'd say, shift and narrative that is changing around sports in general, around women. So what HS&E and Fox did is we saw this little white space, a void in these early season tournaments that we see on the air for college basketball. You see a lot of great men's tournaments, but you don't see any real women's tournaments. So we sat down and created the Women's Champions Classic, and we put the greatest brands in college, women's college basketball in it, and the mecca of basketball, which is in New York.
There you go. Felt like it had to be here in NYC. And I told you this before we started recording. I thought the same thing. I said, when you look at early season for women's basketball, you don't see a lot of these big showcase tournaments. They're just not there. And now we've got one here right in our backyard that fans should be excited about. And the one thing I think fans should know is this is going to be an annual event featuring UConn. So I have to ask this, David, why was it so important to have UConn as a program and the iconic program they are to be a part of this showcase?
So we thought we needed a huge anchor for this tournament, to somebody, a storied franchise. And what better franchise or university than UConn, who has established 11 national titles in women's college basketball, 50 probably conference finals. So to have them as part of this and have them for the next couple of years, it just was needed. And, you know, again, the fan base that they can bring down from Connecticut into New York, we want that experience at the Barclays Center. We want the crowds. And we felt UConn was the perfect team to be the sort of anchor for this tournament.
Yeah, no doubt about UConn and their success that we've seen. Now, also, folks, you should know the inaugural showcase will also see Iowa, Louisville, and Tennessee. David, those are also some big-time storied programs. So you guys came out swinging on this one. What was the thought process besides selecting those three other schools for the Champions Classic?
Well, we wanted big brands, and we wanted to make sure that they had huge fan bases. And those teams, Iowa, Tennessee, and Louisville, certainly travel with their teams. They come here. But they also have to worry about scheduling, what other schools are going to come in. Ultimately, we would like to see the South Carolinas, the LSUs, the Stanfords, the UFCs. Hopefully, they'll all be here. But to start off with these four teams in the inaugural event, couldn't be happier.
Yeah, you can be happier. And you know what I think? I think starting off with these teams and how good they are, those other schools, they're going to be knocking at your door. They're gonna be coming to you.
I hope so. I hope the phone will be ringing after this year.
I have a feeling that might happen. Now, you know, there's so much talk, and you talked about this at the top, about the growth of women's basketball. How do you believe that the Champions Classic will help to further the growth of the sport?
You know, just showcasing these student athletes, putting them in the mecca of where I say New York is the home of basketball. I think that's all going to be a part. But to be honest with you, what's happening right now with Iowa and breaking records and Paige coming back and returning to Connecticut, and even today, this past weekend, having Sabrina and Steph playing against each other, there just seems to be so much focus now on the talent that's out on the court. And I think it's being recognized by media companies and brands and, as I said, you know, private equity right now. So all of this is just leading up to growing the attention of women's sports in general, not just basketball.
Yeah, you know, you're right. The attention on women's sports has just only been going up. But we got to ask David this before we let him go, because fans are going to see this interview. They're going to say, hey, we know this is coming. It's coming on December 7th. Where can they go to find more information, purchase tickets with the Champions Classic? Where do people go to get all that done?
So we're going to actually start selling tickets right before the women's March Madness run to the Final Four for them. And then you can follow everything you need to know with women'schampionsclassic.com. And you'll find out when tickets are going on sale. And appreciate being here and spending some time with you.
No, we're glad to have you here. You're doing great work to further the growth of women's basketball. And we have this Champions Classic right in our backyard, right here in Brooklyn, going down in December. It should be a good one. That is David Levy, the CEO of Horizon Sports and Experiences. They're in partnership with Fox. It should be a really good one. David, thank you for coming. We'll have to talk again soon.
Please do.
When you guys announce the next one, and I'm putting good vibes out here, bigger
I'll be here. I'll be back with you.
Done. We'll have it done. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.